Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing turkey land root retrieval and grid work. If you're new here, I'm Leanna. I've been doing retrievals for different parts of the crystalline grid, helping you retrieve codes that maybe you left in these parts of these parts of the world for you to be retrieved as memories, as wisdom, as knowledge. And then also it's preparing my field for more grid work, which is to anchor in the cosmic energies, the heavenly energies that have been anchored into the grid through the mind-heart axis, down through the womb-heart axis of the earth. So yesterday we did Magdalene codes, which if you did that yesterday, I don't know about you, but it made me really hungry all day. And it came through as like codes of the lifeblood, which makes sense, of nourishment and support the current that moves your life force. After I did that, see, it's all a learning experience. After I did that, I thought I was done through the live, but I didn't do my own retrieval. So I had to go back and do that. And what that was retrieving more of the thunder and lightning codes that the Magdalenes had and left from not finishing their own missions. As far as my memories, Mary Magdalene is the last one who probably reached the coherence level to actually integrate the codes. Oh, maybe not. Okay. But probably the most outwardly coherent. And so I retrieved some of the codes that she had left, and then also retrieved or anchored in more of my connection through my womb space with the Earth's womb space, kind of forming a bridge through that. Again, I'm outside, so you may hear planes, you may hear birds, you may hear dogs. I switched to my GoPro, so the audio should be a little bit better than yesterday, which we had interference from the wind. But I still can't use a noise canceling mic because it distorts the sound. So what we do during these is I'll get you in a relaxed state, make sure you're protecting your energy, aligning your energy with what needs to come through for you, what you're ready to receive. And then we'll see what needs to be retrieved. I reweave them through sound. So it's channeled song. It could sound pretty, it could not. It just depends on what needs to come through. Sometimes it's more like light language, where it's more of like a distinct, pace instead of like sounding like a rhythmic song. But it's not necessarily like, you hear like a Palladian light language or something like that. It's just the tones, the solar or scalar waves that need to come through that talk directly to your body, to your cells, to your womb, to your heart. And which my guides taught me to sing through Sami yoiking, which is indigenous Scandinavian, ancient Finnish, Norse, and or Western Russia, through guiding me towards that, but I don't have official training in that. Maybe in a different life, because I'm hearing you do. And then, so Turkey for me is an interesting place. I've shared about the sort of remembered story of Cassandra of Troy and the first scream. So the first scream being the first scream that was silenced, that was repressed, that fractured the connection between will and love. If you haven't looked at that video, go look at it. I suggest looking at it. It's very short. So Cassandra was a seer who is said to be a priestess of Apollo, who was cursed to never be believed. In the memories, that's not quite it, but she did, predict the fall of Troy, which wasn't believed, wasn't appreciated because of pride, deception, and a fracture between will and love, and then inflation, disguising will and pride as love. There's also a lot of different traumas that took place during the fall of Troy, such as the dishonoring of body, the being torn between duty and heart, and the ego, the inflation of the mind. Ego's not bad in my mind as long as it's healthy, but the inflation of mind where you only value what others can see, what others place value on. So that's probably one of the most significant memories that I have in what's now modern day Turkey, is Troy. The other ones being related to Constantinople and the Byzantine Empire. And I say it's where sovereignty, like Turkey, for me, the arc of Turkey is where sovereignty turned to silence, to fear, to control, and that control turned to hate. So there could be a lot of emotions that come up. And Constantinople, Turkey, that area of the world, the Byzantine Empire. So when I was doing work on the Vatican, which there's a video explaining that work, I heard go back to Byzantium, Byzantion, which is the name of the city that is now, or related to the name of the city that is now Istanbul. That Byzantine or Byzantium, went from Byzantium to New Rome to Constantinople, and had its energy has had a lot of fragmentation from what that node is originally intended for. It's when I was feeling into it, it's also where there's a big mother wound all around where the Roman Empire spread out, in that area of the world that I worked on, which was a veiling of the voice, a veiling of the womb, a veiling of the body. What also came up was a control of the body, using body as weapon, and also coming up the body as muse, which was interesting because we think of muse as like inspiration, and to inspire creativity, which body as muse doesn't necessarily sound bad if it's honoring the body in the right way, if it's acknowledging the power of the body instead of just seeing it as a tool, as a symbol for vanity. And what's also interesting with muse, if it's a verb, to muse, like a verb, which means muzzle. So to me, that brings a connection to objectifying the body where it is silenced, where it is muzzled, where its full dignity, its full power is not recognized. What also came up, it was let me back up. A long time ago, working with the mother of all creation, something came up about purity. It was when I was discerning someone else's channeled information. Okay. And we think about purity as being cleansed, as being pristine, as being this level of divinity. And when I was discerning about this channeled information, she's like, it's not pure. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And she says, it's not without agenda. So to her, that's what pure means, is it's not without agenda. And now what does agenda mean? I'm going to go towards maybe what you don't think about, like an agenda, like steps to do something or the things you need to do. Agenda came up in the English language related to religion. So the beliefs and the practices that go along with it. But not just the practices, it's the way of being you need. It's like a set of rules you need to follow in order to prove your belief. And then also, I'm going to go to agenda setting theory in media, which is the underlying structure of what is put out to shape your beliefs. It's the intentional direction, intentionally directing your belief to be a certain way. And I think there's a lot of ways, like you can feel into it yourself. What does it mean to have an agenda? What does purity mean? And you can decide for yourself what that means, because I think there's a lot of different ways to interpret that. But when I was feeling into this morning, it was where agenda setting as a way of control was really set in. It was just like the arc of it, the arc of going from sovereignty to fear, to control, to hate, and how it spread in those ways. And when I was working on the Vatican and heard go back to Byzantium, it was where you wrote the story and not where the story wrote you. So those could all come up today. As far as if there'll be a story associated with it that comes through, we'll see. So when I'm doing this, I'm sort of tapping into this part of me, my inner flame. It's right here. I go downwards and I tap into this part of me. I tap into the location and the earth. So, let me just see if there's anything else. Yeah, so I was trying to avoid saying whose memories I have accessed. Well, you know, I've accessed Cassandra's of Troy's. The other one in Constantinople is Theodora of Byzantine, Empress Theodora of Byzantine, who is acknowledged in the Catholic Church as a saint. Through her memories, through her energy that I've tapped into, it was a lot of the body as weapon, the body as control, her body being controlled, seen as a manipulation tool, as something that was feared. It was also not feeling like she was in control of her body. because she had gone through this path where it was tied so much to her value. So Theodora, if you don't know, before she was empress, she's said to have been a sex worker. And she was very smart, very cunning, a lot of fear, a lot of knowing how to turn that fear into power, into a distorted power. And a lot of knowing how to keep that power. She killed people to keep that power. She killed advisors and councils. She and manipulated her strength, her ability to do so, but was deeply suppressed in it, deeply hated herself for it. It weighed on her body, weighed on her bones, having to look a certain way, having to act a certain way, having to always fear losing her power. And also knowing that a majority of people hated her, whether it was because she was a sex worker before or because they feared her. And I haven't seen too many of her memories. I've just tapped into them at a few different points. So for me, I expect there to be a lot of emotions, which you may have them too, but it's not to relive them. It's to bring them into coherence. It's to forgive your soul, to forgive yourself for the lives where you survived in the conditions that you were in. To forgive yourself for the perspective gained, for the experience that you had. Because sometimes you have to have those experiences to know what's right, to know how to perceive distortion, to know how to perceive when you're falling into patterns. And it's a collective wounding of that control, of that hate, that needs to be healed. So it wasn't just Theodora who fell into these lives that were like this. Many of us have, whether we've looked at them or not, whether we acknowledge them or not. And sometimes we were in them for the collective restoration now. Because we wanted to experience all of it to know how to weave it back together. Okay. So now we will see what needs to be rethreaded, what's ready to be rewoven and accessed now and recohered. Like yesterday, I'll do the collective first, and then I'm going to ask about what is needed for myself, for my own field, for the earth. It's all for the earth. It all helps for the earth. But so if you want to begin by taking a few deep breaths. Setting the intention to access our own inner flame, our own light. And you may see it growing from your torso up through your heart, through your being, your own flame. And as it connects with your heart, with your throat, with your mind, it expands and surrounds your whole being with the flower of life. Golden, silver light. Aligning you with the coherence of your soul at its highest level. The flower of life expands, touching the earth, expands, touching the sky. And as you breathe in, a violet flame surrounds you, moving in a vortex, just releasing anything that's no longer aligned with your field, that does not belong to you, back to source, back into the earth. We're going to ask the earth, the air, the water, the fire, the ether to surround, guide, protect you, and alchemize your being today. We're inviting the minerals to balance, to restore, in the cardinal directions, to surround, guide, protect. The winds will flow around and move anything out of your field that does not belong. And as you are in this flower of life, cohered, only what is aligned with your heart, your soul, your integrity of being is allowed in this space. Everything that is not aligned must leave this space now. Imagine the sun beaming down on you, and the light filling your being. And the solar codes go all the way down your body and into the earth, nourishing your body, activating the elements. And as it moves through your body into the earth, take a deep breath and feel how it feels like a sip of water, refreshing, invigorating as it connects with the earth. And the codes of the sun go into the earth, and the earth reaches back through her heart, through her womb, and up through your body. And these energies weave together, surrounding and holding you in divine protection of God, of all, and in the protection, stability, and rootedness of the earth, connected to the organic grids of time, of memory, and if you like, you can place your awareness through your heart, through your body, on your own connection to Turkey, Byzantium, Byzantine, Troy, Ephesus. And as you place your attention on Turkey, we will start with sharing the woundings of Troy, where will and love were fractured, where pride, ego, in a sense, over attachment to their own security that allowed them to not see. And it's not the overabundance that is wrong, it is the ungroundedness that they allowed through that. The disconnection from their sight, from their heart, from their voice. When the signal to recohere, the scream, was ignored, through the mother, that is what fractured the will and love, although it was already out of coherence. The scream of Cassandra, that rippled out was a signal to return that was ignored, disbelieved, because she represented an old way of grounding, an old way of time, of connecting to the earth that was already separated from, an old way of sight, one that was shared but suppressed by others, one that was turned away from due to indulgence, that was ungrounded, undesired in truth. Turkey holds heart energy, but it is a higher heart energy that connects to sight, that connects to golden frequencies, that connects to core of memories and core of woundings. Sight and voice separated. Your ability to see, but your ability to speak about what you see. And your ability to run it through heart, to make sure, to discern what is in truth for you. It's a powerful place. A powerful place fragmented through time, intentionally and unintentionally. Then when we move through Byzantine, and the body suffered more here. The muse, the beauty, where the body was the indulgence, was the prize, was the power, but not power gifted through form, not power gifted through the geometry of your being, through the energy of your being, but the power of what it looked like, the power of the pleasure it could give, which, yes, there is divine power in that. But this is not what we are speaking of. We are speaking of the body as a toy for someone else. Where it was seen as a gate of abuse, a gate of control, a gate to bind, or to make invisible. So if you were not using it for control, then it was made invisible, made to be unseen. And if you had the divine power, that you were accessing your sight, your voice, your heart, your womb, well, that was even more reason to make it invisible. And if you wanted to use that service, the body could not be seen. It was a veiling of heart, a veiling of voice, a veiling of body. Ephesus, we will say as a holding for sovereignty that lasted, outlasted, defied. The longer you defy, though, the greater you're falling. It's grief. Grief of boundaries crossed. Grief of dilution, of reduction, of the sacred, and then plundering it. And this led to hate in the hearts of many. This led to those, we will say, what you perceive as the divine witness turning to the controller, to the distorter, to the abuser. And this is not judged, but it is a reaction to the fear, to the abuse. It is a human need to survive. And it is a collective wounding that moved throughout time, throughout place. A fear that fragmented, but the fragmentation needed to happen. Well, not needed, but the agenda for it to take place was to separate sight, voice, and heart. For if you cannot speak truth, you will not know what to fight for in your heart. If you cannot speak your heart's will, your soul's will, your soul's knowing, then you cannot discern how to move out of the fear, how to move out of the hate. And if you cannot see your own power because it has been veiled and shrouded from you, then how do you move out of it? If you cannot see the light through the darkness, and if Ephesus held this light longer than others, shot their arrows into the dark, and then that's snuffed out, plundered, left. It's like digging out of rubble. But there are always those who still love in the dark, who still know how to see in the shadows, who know how to make it whole. Those who keep their own lights on. So there is always the ability to restore what has been lost, what has been buried. And it lies within your own being. And as you allow yourself to feel your own connection to these wounds, maybe it's not in Turkey, maybe it's somewhere else. See the crystalline roots from your being spreading out into the earth, connecting with the crystalline grid, the Sophia grid of earth. As the celestial dragons circle above, you may feel them And they are transmuting what needs to be restored as we move it, awaken it through the earth. And as the memories, the codes, the wisdoms, the gifts hidden from you return back to you. la. Anole hey ho ho ho. Anua hey hey. No ane hey anua oh. Breathe in down your spine, down to your base, and up. And as you breathe, you're restoring the pieces of you left in Turkey, left in silence, back to you, unveiling your voice, unveiling your sight, unveiling your heart and your will. Unveiling your body, now I'm going to ask if there's anything more, but it's not for the collective. That's for me, for the earth, for restoring, anchoring in the grids, the rainbow bridge into the heart womb axis. There's a circle of women around me. They want to show me how to remove, realign, will, love, womb, will, love, body, will, love, power, through the earth, through circle, through sound, how the circle of sound weave together how embodied circles weave together. Which I've seen before, but it's more of like a knowing that it doesn't always have to sound synchronized. That you're not all channeling the same sound, the same thread, but you're weaving them together. That there'll be locking moments in the sound, but that they don't always sound the same. It's different lineages, different wounds, different pieces of the song. And that it's a wave. I'm asking if Cassandra or Theodora have anything, those memories. Or any songs they want to sing. And Theodora's, it's just like the gift of recognizing the gift of your natural body as it is, without any adornments, is just as beautiful as with them. And knowing the sovereignty of your body, the choice of your body. And it's like Cassandra, she's complete for now. Complete for now? No, okay. Now, the reason I was saying complete for now is because I was feeling this was later, but it's like a reweaving of the whole story, not just her story. But the wounds of Helen, of Hector, of Paris, of Hecuba, of Troy, I keep seeing the apple, which I don't, so in the myth, when Paris picked Aphrodite as the most beautiful and was promised Helen, Aphrodite is the most beautiful of goddesses, he was shown Helen through the apple. And there's a little bit of, I've had this little bit of discernment with the myth where he was promised from Aphrodite, the most beautiful woman in the world. He was promised from Athena victory in war, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly. And Hera, power. Where I don't actually think that's what he was choosing between. And the choice was within himself. Where I feel he was choosing within himself between wisdom, between will, and between love, but the love was poisoned. It was a poisoned interpretation of love. And when he chose to value a love that wasn't real, that didn't honor acceptance and free will choice, but instead was attachment and possession and control, he fractured that within himself. And when he fractured that within himself, it was a wave that was already present, already there in Troy, but it was a fracture within him that led to cracks, led to the web itself fracturing, like a window when you crack it. And it just spreads and spreads and spreads. So it's the whole web, the whole weaving of Troy that Case is pointing me to. That it's not just her scream, her wound, that was the signal. And the signal resounds now to return to coherence without rupture. But the choice, is what she's saying, the choice matters. Your perception matters. You don't choose between will, love, and wisdom. Wisdom is the coherence of your will, love, and form. So you don't choose between healing, the signal, the scream, you choose between knowing wholeness or fracturing. Okay, so I was hearing repair the apple, the golden apple. So it was like the golden apple whole before choosing fracturing. And it's like all the people we know, all the characters we know from the fall of Troy represent a different piece of that fracturing. So you can't just focus on the wounds of one. So we can sing that through the womb-heart axis of Earth to rethread the fractures of Troy, of the apple, back through the earth to restore and repair and rethread into wholeness. Hede hede he la ra ro ke a ha ro ha de ra ha ro a ha 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 o. He 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 la la ho a ha ha o ha ha o. Yaro ke he amma ho ha o ha o. Ye amaro he ara. Ye aroha o. Hey, hey, Amaru hayata. Hey, 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 Amara karura de hey, 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 oh, uru. Maru are aru amaru amaru are aru amaru aru are And that is done. And if you're still with me, you can take a deep breath. See your roots that are down into the earth, gently drawing back up into your being. The energy of the earth slightly receding, although you're never truly disconnected. The flower of life and the light surrounding you gently comes back, surrounding your body, filling in the codes that were retrieved for you today, allowing them to integrate. So just drinking water, moving the body gently. And the flower of life gently flows back down through all your energy centers, letting them know they are done receiving, filling your energy. And you can move around if you're relaxed. Come back to the space around you. Look at that, just in time, because my battery is getting low. If you stuck with me today, I would love to hear how that was received for you, what you felt, what you experienced in the comments below. Tomorrow is Glastonbury in the UK. I hope you'll join me for that one. If you haven't checked out the Magdalene Code retrieval, that's on my channel under lives, you can watch that. Again, the audio is not that great. I might try to play with that to see if I can improve it. But the energy is still there, and it was very powerful. If you're interested in supporting my journey, there's lots of links in the descriptions to help with getting me to Oregon for the equinox. And you can always check out my services. If you want a personalized land root retrieval, I have my womb root retrieval sessions, where it's a combination of me helping you retrieve those, but also guiding you on how to do that yourself. If you're interested in that, that's also linked below, as well as workshops and lots of other things. So I had fun doing this today and sharing with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.